Hello everyone, it's TripleZHacker here, and we are back with the Shogunate Total War Tournament 2020. Today I have a great match to provide some analysis and commentary on for you guys, but before we get into the actual battle, be sure to subscribe to check out the rest of the tournament coverage on my channel, as well as tons of other Shogun 2 videos. Also check the links in the description to subscribe to Smotheredrun's YouTube channel, who will also be covering the tournament. Now without further ado, let us begin with the first battle. Alright, so before we get into the first battle of this match, I have a couple of things I want to say to you guys. First off, thank you so much for the overwhelming support with the tournament coverage videos. I really appreciate it, and I'm really glad that you guys have a ton of positive feedback for me and are enjoying the content thus far. I really love making these types of videos, and it's such a joy to watch all the players compete for this tournament, especially with the unique armies, tactics, and everything that they bring to the table, as well as just the action of the battles unfolding, before my very eyes, and just providing commentary and analysis when I feel it's necessary. But overall, just an excellent first round by all the players, and now my coverage will be shifting into the winners round 2 and losers round 1. So with the losers and winners brackets, I'm going to try to make sure that I distinguish exactly which is happening in each of my videos in the title and video descriptions, so that way you guys know exactly where the battle or the match is happening on the bracket. Now, with the bracket, I'll be linking the site for it in the video description so you can check it out for yourselves, but be warned, it does contain some spoilers, so keep that in mind whenever you view it. The reason my coverage hasn't been keeping up with it is I've been lagging behind, so I'm going to try to start uploading videos daily and maybe even twice daily as well, so be sure to keep notifications on so you guys can check out all the tournament coverage here. The last thing I want to mention, and it's just for this video in particular, is I'm going to drag this one out quite a bit because it's my own gameplay footage of Shogun 2, so I want to give you guys as much insight to multiplayer as I can. So we're going to have an in-depth look at my tactics, sort of my thoughts or ideas that I was planning to use for this battle, how I played it, what went well, what didn't work at all, sort of like that, and be overtly critical of my own gameplay. So I really hope you guys enjoy that. I know it might seem a bit like minute and really detail-oriented, but I'll still try to show some of the action as well too. Overall, again, the goal of these videos are to both entertain you guys, but also educate you guys on sort of how to play Shogun 2 better, and Shogun 2 multiplayer specifically, because, it's sort of not the same as, the campaign mode that we're all accustomed to. But anyways, I do hope that you guys enjoy this video in particular, and I really hope that my insight helps you guys become better Shogun 2 players. Anyways, with all those things out of the way, let's get started on the actual first battle of this match. So, of course, I am representing the Ogigayatsu clan, and my opponent here is Nordward, representing the Satomi clan. So, Nordward chose the first map, which is Tohoku Forest, and as you can see, it's obviously self-explanatory with the name that there's a ton of trees and forest. So this map is crazy in that you can hide a lot of units everywhere, and of course there is a bit of terrain with some hills around here, and overall it's one of my favorite maps. I really enjoy playing on it. Now the map does feature two key buildings. We have on my side the farmhouse over here, and on the Satomi side we have the shrine. Now of course the shrine is the better of the dojos, so that was a huge factor for this battle for me in terms of just my strategy. But first, we'll review the army compositions briefly. We'll start with the Satomi here. Since the replays were sent from my perspective, we can't see the full Satomi army yet because some of them are hiding, but we'll go over what we can see so far. So we have Naginata warrior monks, some Nodachis, 2 Naginata samurai, and a general. So 6 units are visible. So far, just infantry and pretty elite infantry at that. Now, for my army composition, I went with a bit of a rush army. Pretty much I love playing aggressively in Shogun 2, and it's rewarded quite well in certain situations, and especially in land battles in particular. But I have 5 cav here, excuse me. I have some Katana cav, I have Great Guard, and then 3 Yari cav. My front line consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Nodachi samurai, 3 Naginata warrior monks, and a Katana samurai. And then, of course, my general, and then on this far right flank, we have a Yari samurai. Now, the reason I have the Naginatas the Nodachis in the front line is so pretty much that their charge bonus is used effectively. Now, they don't have a lot of armor, but I didn't really worry too much about that because I didn't expect my opponent to bring many bows at all. They're missile units. And of course, the monks are in the back along with the katana samurai to sort of, they have higher morale. They're also, higher melee defense, so they last a bit longer in combat. So that's why I have them on the second line. All the cav here is just, again, really good on this map, with all the hidden trees and stuff. So that's the reason why I brought those units. I brought the katana cav just in case because they're really good against sword infantry or katana infantry, like also good against nodachis and katana samurai. And they can be decent against naginata units, so sometimes they're valuable to bring every once in a while, and I expected my opponent to bring a fair amount of sword units. Anyways, let's get this battle underway and get things started. We'll speed it up just a little bit for the first moments, but as you can see, I send the Yari Samurai straight to this farmhouse here, and on rapid advance, I want to get to that farmhouse as soon as possible. My whole goal for deploying my army over here was so that I could get to this shrine and contest it. I don't want my opponent to get the shrine at all. That morale bonus is going to be so crucial in the battle that I can't allow my opponent to have it. Of course, the farmhouse here will be nice to get, and that's why I just sent one unit over there to capture it. You can see there's a little flash in the back over there. There's some hitting cav, I think. But anyways, we send the cav up really aggressively and early to kind of contest this and maybe threaten to attack. But Nordward does something really well here, and you can see these Yari Samurai coming over here as well to take the shrine. So this cav can't really do anything against them, so I break off immediately. In the meantime, I'm rushing over the remainder of my army. I know they might be a bit fatigued, but still, as long as I can get into position to contest this, that'll be the best thing. And again, we just don't want our opponent to capture the shrine. Now, the Yari Samurai over here will get into the battle later. I mean, again, it's nice to just have the farmhouse just in case as a sort of insurance policy, really. But yeah, I don't really want my opponent to get set up here with the shrine and everything and have a good position to defend from. And of course, I'm trying to move up sort of in the similar formation that I had. The Nodachis in front, the other units in the back. Kind of want to keep the cav in the woods here. I mean, my opponent already knows I have it, so it's not really too big of a deal. Now, this right here is really important. So I have this katana cav running here towards the shrine. And with every key building, you can see how there's this sort of circle here, this zone. That's like the capture zone. And pretty much you have to have units inside there in order to capture the building. Well, if I send one of my units into this sort of zone, the building capture kind of doesn't increase or progress for the Satomi here. And so doing this kind of stalls or delays the shrine being captured by my opponent. And so this is exactly why I'm sending the katana cav in there. Of course, it's like a suicide mission kind of, but I'm not going to send them in to charge into Yari Samurai. I'm just going to send them in right here to pretty much just sit and sort of draw the attention of these spear units here. And as you can see, my opponent reacts pretty quickly, which is good on their part. And just, again, pull back the katana cav, but kind of just make sure that this doesn't get taken. And if it does, try to, retake it if you can during the combat. And of course, I move some cav over this way because maybe I'm thinking I can, send them around because I don't see any cav that my opponent has. But again, I know that they're still there. And here, we'll watch this charge. This is really good on my opponent. I micromanage these Nodachis so badly. And as you can see, I'm not countercharging. They don't have bonsai on. I kind of react lately. And yeah, you can see that it was still a pretty good charge by the Satomi. And they all have bonsai and they got the charge bonuses and everything. Now, at this point, I just rush everybody in straight from the center. And you can see my cav is going as well. And you're probably wondering, why is the cav going into the center, right? Well, there's two reasons. Firstly, I just want forced concentration. I want as many troops as possible in this area and just push towards the general. If I can kill the general, I'll win the match. For the most part, it's a pretty good odds that you will. The other reason is that there's the spears on the flanks. So you see there's two Naginata Samurai here and another one on this side. So really, there's no point in running the cav all the way around and focusing that micro to sort of get around one single spear unit. So pretty much just rush the center because all there is swords here. There's some spears in the back, but they're not going to make it in time to stop that initial cav charge. And plus, the other thing you have to take into account is that these units on the flanks now have to get back into the conflict. They're not in the center of the melee, so they have to rush back in order to get there. And they're going to take a while to flank because they're not as quick as cav. So again, yeah, we just rushed through the center here. I mean, again, not really the most effective charge, but still, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units on one Nodachi Samurai there. And as you can see, the Cav trap is sprung by the Satomi, and this really scared me. I was super worried about this. But again, I have some Yari Samurai here just as insurance to kind of get over there in time, maybe to just stop them for a little bit. I put my general in stand and fight, as one typically does. And again, you know, I got even matchups over here, 2 swords against spears, and then just look at this center right here. Look at just the amount of units I have here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm more than double my opponent's forces here. And of course, some of the units had already broken at this point. But again, I just pushed through the center and just collapsed the center. And yeah, you can see the Naginata Samurai kind of coming in the area. And of course, the Cav makes an excellent charge here. And Nordward played that pretty well. This was a really brilliant trap. If only, though, that I come a bit sooner. And of course, this is what scared me the most. My general getting charged by some Yari Cav. This was pretty dangerous. You can see him just get knocked down brutally there. And of course, I'll turn on the cinematic mode for you guys. But yeah, I mean, I bring my Cav over just in time to kind of try to save my general. Of course, my opponent's general's over here, so I don't really know if I got to them. But again, I routed most of the mainline infantry, so as you can see, it's pretty much just a lot of Ogigayatsu infantry versus the remaining Satomi Cav. And when all you have is Cav left versus infantry, this is what's going to happen. You're going to run into a bunch of Naginata monks, you're going to run into Nodachis, and if you don't cycle charge with the Cav, it's going to be prolonged melee. Let me just look at this. This is brutal. But yeah, as you can see, all the Cav is kind of routing, the general has broken, and again, just a clear rush up the middle has secured the first victory for me in the match. So again, what do we notice there? Well, one of the things is local superiority and force concentration. I harp on these a ton, but they're really successful in Shogun too. The other thing too is you have to understand what your opponent is trying to do and sort of counter that. And the thing is that if they have like spears on the flanks, so to speak, then there's no point in really microing the Cav around. You can try to, but then your Cav won't be able to support your infantry. So really the main thing is that if those are Naginata Samurai, they can't get to the center of the melee as quickly because they're so slow. So that's why I bring my Cav and just rush through the center. You want units to be working in unison, pun intended there. But you really want the units to be coordinating together. The spears and the swords and the Cav and the bows, like they all work really well together. They don't work as well separately. And that's kind of the thing, really. And it works super well in this match in particular. And of course, I definitely was able to take advantage of just sending everyone through the center, and it worked. If Nordward there had sprung his Cav trap a bit sooner and had gotten, you know, a few hammer and anvils on me, then it would have been a completely different battle. So again, it was more of a thing of he charged from kind of all the same direction. If he brought his Cav up in different areas or, you know, had his Cav out sooner, my Cav wouldn't have been able to join in the fight. So again, a really great battle though by my opponent, especially the spears on the flanks. That really trips me up quite a bit. So that's something that, you know, that's the way you can react to it, is by rushing through the center. And of course, it was an epic first battle. It was a quick one though. Anyways, let's move now into the second battle. For the second battle, it was my choice of the map, so I chose Kawabe River. And this map is one of my favorites. It has a bit of terrain things that I really like, but also it's a nice flat open area. It's got some trees on the sides. Of course, it has this river here, which can also lead to some craziness. And it has 3 key buildings right in the center of the map. So we have over here the Sword Dojo. In the center, we have the workshop, and on the far end, we have the shrine. So the 3 best dojos in multiplayer. So again, really good selection of dojos here. And yeah, this map has quite a unique feature with these 2 like kind of lakes here. So the shallow water, as the game calls it. So it's a really unique map, and I really love it. Anyways, I'll review the army compositions briefly and then get into the battle. So my army was fairly similar. I brought a bit of a difference, I think, though, because I had 4 Nodachi Samurai this time instead of 6. I had some Katana Samurai instead to replace them, and I had 3 Naginata Warrior Monks. And then over here, I had some Yari Samurai, as I usually do. I had some Katana Cav once more again, because, you know, I figured there were a lot of Nodachis in that first one, so why not bring them again, maybe to get, you know, them engaged onto some infantry. And then, of course, I have the 4 cav over here hidden in the woods. I got Great Guard and then 3 Yari cav. So a very similar army, just replacing the katanas with the nodachis. Now, Nordward here brought a similar army too, except with a bit of a difference. So we have 2 Yari cav, we have some light cav, and then we got 2 more Yari cav. So a bit more cav, but the biggest difference, of course, was these fire rockets. So a huge difference from the previous battle. It's still a balanced army though, because you have a ton of Naginata samurai here as a front line. Then of course you got 4 nodachis in the back, so still like enough of a balance really to make it an interesting fight. And I think this is like one of the best compositions for a fire rocket army you can bring, because the fire rockets are like the only missile unit. If you had other missile units here, you wouldn't have enough spears to like defend. So really good on Nordward. I like this build. I'm able to exploit it some because I really don't mind going against fire rockets. I've learned how to deal with them quite a bit, but again, still a really good army build with fire rockets included. Anyways, let's get this underway. The second battle now. So, of course, right off the bat, I send the Yari Samurai straight to the Sword Dojo, and then I immediately move all my other units forward. Nordward kind of moves forward a bit. I keep my cav kind of hidden here for now. I bring my general out, and then I kind of notice he has fire rockets, so I pull my general back. Of course, one of the things I always do, and I recommend you guys do this, is that whatever unit you want to move first in the match, you kind of click the thing and then have them selected to move. I always do that with my Yari Samurai. My Yari Samurai is the first unit to move. Always send them toward the dojo you want. You really want to send them toward the dojo you want. You want to send a good amount of your forces toward another dojo. So for me, I went for the Sword Dojo and the Workshop. Now, the shrine is really good, but I didn't have any units that I really wanted to cross this river, and it really wouldn't work with sort of my rush army setup to have that delayed time of crossing that terrain. That being said, of course, I'm walking up this crazy hill over here. I got the Katana Cav over there. And you see these fire rockets are about to be in range, which kind of worried me. I keep my general back just enough. I have all my infantry here. They're relatively safe. I'm not too worried about the cav because I have my cav here to distract them. This first fire rocket volley, a decent volley for sure. I mean, it's against infantry, but still, like, losing that many nodachis is the greatest, and still a pretty decent volley. But again, you want to kind of like keep them in loose formation and just not clump up your troops when dealing with fire rockets. Now, when rushing too, you want to have a really wide line, and you don't want to get caught by the dojo. So over here, I don't want to come from this side because of the shallow water. I want to come from this way because the shallow water will slow down my men, of course. And also, again, these 2 dojos over here were my priority, so I want my army to be in this general area. Now, this cav charge over here, I sort of catch some of the cav here, but a nice counter charge there by Nordward. And of course, this cav is going to get obliterated, though. That Yari cav there. The Great Guard, though, should be able to take, hold off long enough. But of course, I'm really focused on this battle over here. These Naginata Samurai do a really nice job of cutting off this Nodachi's path, but of course I get some Nodachis all the way down over here. I bring the monks on this side just to keep these Nodachi Samurai busy, and then I send the Katana Cav over here to get a hammer and anvil. Yari Samurai is capturing there. Of course, my general is moving up, taking a fire rocket volley at the same time. General sniping is a really big issue, and that was one of the things I was super worried about with this battle. But again, you can see most of my infantry is engaging. My cav over here distracting the Satomi cav. Might not win that fight, but that's okay. I'm really focused on this fight here. And we'll zoom in, of course, and get the pictures. I mean, the action, excuse me. You can see that fire rocket just sailed over right there. It's pretty scary. But yeah, so the Nodachis are going to beat these Naginata Samurai, and then the Katanas are going to assist as well. And of course, the monks over on this end are going to hold the Nodachis long enough. And of course, fire rockets still keep happening. But yeah, the Katana Cav over here was kind of sort of to break this entire right flank, and it's fine if the Cav over there doesn't have the support. And of course, as you can see, most of the army is kind of broken at this point. We've gotten to the fire rockets, and as well, we're getting to the general. We'll zoom in here just to see the brave last stand by the Satomi general here in the water. They're getting bucked from their horses and just everyone riding by. It's brutal, brutal warfare. And of course, some of my cav lived, and yep, there you go. So most of the troops routed, and I was able just to again rush and envelop and consume, sort of force my opponent to play a certain way, play defensively. And with the fire rockets, especially, you want to get to them as soon as possible so they can't shoot off multiple volleys. And yeah, the collapsing of this left flank on this end right here was really crucial to that battle. And just, be willing to sort of lose certain engagements. Sometimes you have to take losses in order to take wins. And I mean, I know that sounds a bit contrarian, but sometimes in a engagement or in a large scale battle, you have to win a certain part of the engagement, but also lose one part of it because some engagements are more crucial than others. Like right here, the infantry engagement was the most important thing for me. If I eliminate my opponent's infantry, that cav over there, even if the Satomi cav wins, they can't do anything against all this infantry I have left. And pretty much I just want to control this whole area and have the two dojos. And if I have that, then I, basically control the map. I have the, the advantage in terms of unit types because the infantry is just not going to be able to do anything. I mean, sorry, the cav is not going to be able to charge and stay in prolonged melee against the infantry long enough. And of course, if I get to the general, then the likelihood is that cav will rout and break and retreat from the battle. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. The battles were super quick, so I tried to give as much information as I could and basically on my, insight of the game and everything. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe once more, and I'll see you guys next time.